Man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Darren?
Hey everyone, I'm Noah Lichtenstein from Crossover VC. Today I'm joined by my good friend Meyers Leonard of the NBA's Miami Heat and one of the most prominent pro athletes in gaming today. And gaming industry legend Darren Sugg, a creator of the global gaming phenomenon Fortnite, one of the top grossing games in history, generating over $5 billion in revenue. So Darren, Meyers, I want to thank you guys so much for taking the time today.
Thanks for having us, number one, Noah. And Darren, I mean, we all have to know, where in the world did the idea for Fortnite come about?
I always tell this story is that, you know, on Saturday afternoons, I'd get on my bike and I'd pedal down to the patch of wood down the street. And we would literally take pieces of board, scraps, rusty nails, and actually make a fort. And it was really, well, how do we take that childlike moment of joy with all your friends and make that into a game? And it was really a fusion of a bunch of different folks, like thinking about what it was like back when they were kids making forts in the backyard. And that's really how the idea started. And obviously over time, you build different game mechanics to support all those pieces, different game modes. But in the end, it's really that moment that appeals to so many different people about, oh yeah, I remember what that was like, or that is my current world. You know, I play with my friends, but in this day and age, you get to do that digitally.
That is so amazing. I mean, when I first jumped into Fortnite, I just thought there were so many different components to it that as a gamer, you know, I grew up playing a lot of Call of Duty, and then some of my buddies were playing Fortnite, like, Meyers, you got to try Fortnite. Meyers, you got to try Fortnite. So I started to stream, and that's what everyone wanted me to play. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm making the jump to Fortnite. I got to try it out. And I have to admit, I was hooked immediately. Just, there's something about Fortnite that just kind of ropes you in, really. It's funny, when you talk to other NBA players about Fortnite, they're all talking about, well, my kids won't get off the dang game. But, you know, from a guy who loves gaming, you know, that it's so interactive. And as you mentioned, it's amazing that you guys had the thought to kind of take yourselves back to your childhood and create something that not only you guys would enjoy, but also that people around the world were going to enjoy.
On that note, did it ever surprise you that Fortnite and just gaming in general has reached this point where they almost act like social networks, where people are showing up at your game, not even to play, but to chat with friends or even watch concerts? I mean, what, 10 million people showed up to watch Marshmello play? Like,
yeah, the numbers were staggering.
About that?
Yeah, for me, I think that's just resonating the individual social groups of like what you like to do together. So the platforms now provide that. But yeah, it is essential to build those communities and have your friends play, you know, as quickly as possible together, because, you know, we are social creatures, you know, and so the sky's the limit about where it's going to go in the future in terms of like, it's only going to get more social. And I think it's going to just continue to be part of what life is now. And that's awesome.
I'm curious, when it comes to a game like Fortnite, where you've seen so much success, where were the big turning points? Or is there like a massive team that's working on this and developing new ideas like every day, or how does that work?
I've had passed the torch off to another group of people. They're diligently building stuff. And I have, you know, like you, I am very interested to see, you know, what they do in the future. In the past, it was, you know, I think the secret of what was built was really having a world that was expansive enough to have all these different styles of gameplay to coexist. It was really the construct of the world that we built that enabled now creators to keep building those games and those fantasies going forward. And now, as a guy who's sort of stepped away from all this, I'm excited to see what the team and what the community continues to build with this world. That's the power of the online games with communities. They continue to evolve, and you hear great ideas from the community, and you put them back into the game. and then, you know, the building system. That was really the thing that like we knew was unique to this style of game, and it was unique to the fantasy. So that was the thing. In the end, how it took off is sort of a mystery to me to get to the success that it's at. But but the core version of that is like, hey, the world is really friendly and welcoming to everybody.
I have to say, Darren, I become a bit of a hermit also. My wife often makes fun of me. You know, we obviously spend our time together, and then I have to work out a ton. But during my downtime, I just love gaming, you know, so it's nothing for me to play 3, 4, 5. I mean, I did a 24-hour live stream.
Myers, talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to. I did do a 24-hour live stream, and for me, it's almost like a badge of honor that I feel I have now. And let me just tell you, 24 straight hours of like this hammer mentality of me coming out, not that easy, but I loved it. I loved every second of it. You know, we had giveaways, and of course I played a ton of Call of Duty. I did actually jump over to Fortnite and play with some FaZe guys. So it was a ton of fun. But on the whole, we raised $70,000 in 24 hours, which was obviously an amazing, amazing thing. I have a goal to feed 1 million people in the month of April due to the craziness of coronavirus, and so many people are affected, right? So, last night I had another impactful stream. We raised another 60,000, so we're up to about 130,000 now. It was an all NBA Warzone solo event, so it's been a ton of fun. I think by the time this month is over, I'll probably be over $500,000 in total donations that I was a part of. So it just feels good to know that something I'm so passionate about, while everything else is on hold in our world. But one thing that is very real right now because of just the technology is gaming. But I do have a question. I'm very, very curious, and I think you probably have the answer. Did you envision like what it actually is, like when Turner and Booga and all these, was that the vision that people would be able to crank 90s and edit, or was it actually like this is a fort-based game where, well, we got this part of the map and you are not to come over here? I mean, it is, you have to admit, some of the stuff these guys could do, it's crazy. It blows my mind, to be honest. So I'm curious about that. I'm very curious.
Yeah, absolutely. So two things. So first off, thank you for being out there and raising money and trying to help the people. I mean, this is a crazy time. So it makes me really happy when I see members of the community out there sort of working hard to help other folks. So again, let me just say thanks for continuing to do that. So as far as building, so the weird part about it, it was a traversal as a mechanic, like building as a way to like get up into the sky or to go over obstacles, and to use that in your gameplay. It emerged pretty early once we were doing PvP based gameplay of any kind, whether it was capture the flag or some of our other prototype modes. And so it was evident, but I don't think we saw the level of skill that exists in the community today back then. But we could see the emergent, and that emergent gameplay was the thing. We were like, this is going to be interesting when we pair this with these types of gameplays, because humans versus humans playing these kind of games are going to do wild things that we never thought possible at that moment. But yeah, there was always the little spark of that building mode and that traversal of the game world that exists. It's amazing, and that's just it blows my mind.
So shifting gears a little bit, when did you guys first see this intersection of sports and gaming really start to take place? And why do you think it's taken off in the way that it has?
So when I grew up, it was a bit different. Like, people who played games were a smaller subset of your average high school or middle school population. They were, and they were a bit of the nerd folk, and there was, sports and gaming at that time didn't really coexist in the way that it does today. So tell me a little bit about like what it's like today, where this crossover is like everybody's right at the forefront.
Absolutely. Good word, first of all, crossover. But secondly, I was actually just on a panel the other day that talked about the modern day two-sport athlete. And during this panel, we talked about, well, now you can be somewhat of an athlete, an NBA athlete, NFL, whatever it may be, and play video games. It used to be, well, if you're a gamer, you're a nerd, or you're weird, or, you're kind of, whatever. But now it's very trendy and very much a real thing that athletes have made this jump over to streaming and gaming. And it's fun to build a new community and fan base in this area. We all have our fans that it's interesting. You kind of have the fans that love you for the basketball player that you are, and now I have the fans that love me for the gamer that I am, and then you have some crossover between the two. Each community finds a way to impact the world through gaming. So it's been very fun for me to be a part of this world and now be a trendsetter in this world.
In the way back, we used to talk about like, what's our contribution to the world? We don't cure cancer as game developers. Like, how do we do that? But interestingly enough, like the communities that have grown from gaming they have a real positive impact on the world. And I'm excited to see all those pieces come together. I'm hoping, like, one of the places I like to work with is a charity called Teen Cancer America. Teenagers are the seed of the gamers, and it's like, well, how do you help that group of people very directly? So seeing everybody else out there, yourself, Dr. Lupo, getting out there and really raising money, and just, you guys are changing the world, and I'm very thankful for it.
All right, so it's been an awesome episode, and at the end of every episode, we like to do a section we call the rapid fire. So you guys ready for it?
I'm ready.
Sure am.
You're stuck on an island. You can only play one game for the rest of your life. What game is it?
For me, a game like Dark Souls.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the one that's out right now.
Where's your favorite starting point on Fortnite map?
The Tilted Towers.
Because that was literally the first place I ever dropped, and I dropped there for probably 2 weeks straight. I'll go Haunted Hills.
What's your quarantine cheat food?
Ice cream and donuts, and a cronut, to be exact, a glazed cronut, because unbelievable.
A giant bag of Reese's Pieces. Like, it's big.
Oh, and those are so good. What is one app on your phone that you just can't live without?
I got a 1A and 1B. I'm sorry, I can't go rapid fire on this one. It's got to be Instagram and Twitch.
For me, sadly, it'll probably have to be my Outlook mail app. I just it's sad, but it's like, that's how I keep myself organized, my task list, my ideas. Like, I just throw everything in there.
So when all this craziness is over, what's the one thing, the first thing that you want to do that you haven't been able to do when all this ends?
I've got a hiking spot I like to go to. As soon as we're free, I'll be up on that mountain running around. So.
And for me, I would have to probably say playing an NBA basketball game, in particular in the playoffs, because we've had a very successful season here in Miami. To get back out there on the floor and competing again would definitely be my answer.
Thank you so much for taking the time. This has been amazing. I know you guys are both super busy, and thanks. Stay safe out there. Thanks again for stopping by the Crossover. You can give our guests a follow here, and check back with us soon for more founder stories. Crossover is a venture capital platform that provides access to investing in the private technology sector and making sure that the next generation of wealth creation doesn't look like the last one. As part of that commitment, Crossover is proud to be making a contribution to our friends at All Star Code on behalf of all the participants in this series. And before you go, we work up an appetite putting this series together, and we want to thank our friends over at DoorDash for their support and for making it easy to get great food delivered to our door.